mweli kawa kusoman weli katonon amgap kirwog kulotay lotisay tinya yiting chigostoy tinya wajan tisoitoy tinya gel
strategies, youth development, small community projects, whereas young people will need to find a way in how do we consolidate our efforts so that we can begin to create a business functional unit within ourselves. There is no substitute, otherwise you just end up as talkers. You need to find a way, accessing land, means of production, retail. You need to build your own economy until you have even your own banks, you have your own schools, you have your own clinics, you have your own maternity wards where women are delivering children, you have your own agricultural projects, you eat your own food and allow your money to move from one hand to another hand amongst yourselves. If one of us is selling cars in the organization here, we all buy from him. If one of us is making clothes, we all buy from him. If one of us is selling insurance, we all buy from him. If one of us is doing food, we all buy from him. Until such a time where the day-to-day expenses of our homes, the money changes hands from one Asian to another Asian. There is no substitute for that. Otherwise, we're going to spend lots of time talking and taking all our monies again and giving them back to the same system that destroys us. Study the Jews. Study the Indians. Study the Chinese. How money creates a sub-economy that services its own people. So I cannot buy it away from you. In the midst of the Gen Zs being excited, we need to convert that excitement into a proper financial system that works for us. So the young people must get yourself together. Is all of you. And I can help you here and there. I need a CV of every one of you. With that CV, then we put you in clusters. Those that are into IT, those that are into engineering, those that are into telecoms, those that are into fashion, those that are into farming, and see how you can create a profile of the 2,000 members that you have right now, where you can start accessing tenders, start looking for jobs and contracts, start looking for service provision, both locally, regionally, and internationally. You can begin to export your skills where you can begin to access meaningful funding so that you can grow yourselves. If you have farmers that are amongst you, then access land, produce food for yourselves, and the excess sell to the market. So manufacturing, be it assembling, be it redesigning, engineering, innovation, but you need to find a way of creating money. Without money, you're wasting time. Politics is a prostitute of economics. He who pays the piper decides the tune.
Well put, Maponga. Well put. I think for our young people, facing the future with our spirituality and our clear identity is very important. We understand that you are an entrepreneur, you are a fashion enthusiast, you are a creator in many ways. And looking at the trends now, people are yearning to get more knowledge or more products that are indigenous, that are natural, that are traditional and cultural. And that is something that many young people can participate in terms of economic development. From your observation, knowledge, connecting our spirituality with the future or the economics that we are currently within. Can you advise young people on how they can tap into this rich cultural heritage that is buried, that is not known? And there's a huge market for this. What's your take and what's your advice?
The next group of millionaires in the world are going to be owners of what I call IP, which is intellectual property. IP stretches from products to ideas. And I would want to challenge every African child that the terrain of our culture has not yet been tampered with at all. Look at brands such as Gucci. Look at brands such as Versace. Look at brands such as Giorgio Armani's and some of these big corporate Louis Vuittons. Some of those brands are actually stolen African symbols that have been created into brands. But look how many more symbols do we still have that have not yet been tapped into. this is not only in terms of clothing and design. This goes for our perfumes. The other day I was in the bush actually there in Mount Kenya. There's that white leaf that you find next to the mountains there, which has a nice smell in it. Our old parents used to use it as perfume, you know, and you put it in your bag and it makes you smell nice. Who has bothered to actually look into that and create a new perfume, create a new air freshener that is environmentally friendly? Look at these old people. Our culture is our library. Say that after me. Our culture is our library. Literally, if you walk into culture and you identify what culture is doing, the real question you have now, how do you take that idea, brand it, package it, manufacture it, sell it, register it as an IP, and go to town? Whether it is making these things and creating a brand around the world and selling them. Tell me how many millions you will make. Whether it is taking these very symbols that you have, if people have an idea of what it is, and a nice manual is written next to it, and it is put on the market there, tell me who would not want to buy it and have it. So look around your culture, look around your emblems, look around your fashion, look around your, and all these things for me, whether it is your clay pots, whether it is the way in which you make your shoes, your sandals, whether it is your medicines, whether it is everything that our culture has, it's a library which is waiting for you to go there, harvest that intellectual property, and then be able to, I mean, when someone's got a headache, we know you must eat this and that and that. Who has bothered to actually start making medicines out of those things and align them as part of our medicines? We have lots, from pharmaceuticals to fashion, to education, to crafts, to art, to technologies, which has not yet even been tapped into. There's some, you know, the toothbrush tree that we have around the mountains here.
Yeah.
That tree, you can take the stick, clean up your teeth. You can eat the roots. It cleans up your tongue, cleans up your gingivitis and your gums, your halitosis, and what and what. One little herb. Who has ever thought of making toothpaste out of that thing?
No one.
And then you ask me, how do we tap into? You tap into by stepping back into culture and appreciating your culture, and then study, understand, and import, move that culture and convert it into business.
Thank you so
use
much.
culture.
Yeah, we are encouraging our young people to use our culture, our spirituality, which is the foundation for us, for our existence, and use it for economic development, especially on matters technology.
Let's give them a nice hashtag. Turn your culture into currency.
Yeah, turn your culture into currency.
Hashtag our culture, our business.
Currency.
Or our culture, our currency.
Very nice. That's a good slogan. That's a takeaway home for today. And maybe I will jump to my brother Chebon. You being a professional, I'm sure you've experienced a lot of backlash, a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainties when you started switching from Christianity to Assisian spirituality. When you started this journey, how is the experience? And I want Maponga to listen to how most of us are feeling now. When we started this journey, when we started saying publicly that we are Assisians, we are going back to our roots, there are so many things that happened in our lives. And even today, we still feel some kind of rejection, sometimes misconception about the entire thing. So maybe Chebon, you can highlight something about it so that we can go back to Maponga, because I think we are past 1 hour and we don't want to take so much time. So let's talk about that, and then we can see how we can manage the crisis that these young people turning back to their roots are facing, and how they can manage it and move boldly towards their future with their spirituality.
Thank you so much, Binot. I think it's not easy how you ask me. Like,
Sense contribution on that is we needed to find a functional, productive model. The truth is your practices will either make you or break you. And I think a good product sells itself. you need to live better lives. And you need to show that what you are doing now can make you live okay. And this comes through a whole chain of support structures for yourselves that you can create for yourselves so that you can slowly begin to unplug from the grid and then develop a community that is sustainable. And by the way, do not be led astray and do not be threatened by people who say you are a cult. Christianity is a cult also, for crying out loud. Catholicism is a cult. Show me one church that could say they are not a cult. So we have been there. We have, bought the t-shirt, it's torn. You cannot be threatened by people who try to make themselves superior, that you are now worshiping this, you are now doing that, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. According to who? According to who? And this whole thing of do it simply because the old people have been doing it like that, the church, it has been happening like that, I think that time is way, way gone. And had Christianity been truthful when it came here, I think some of us would have still been even Christian. But it is the lies. It is the covering up. It is the dishonesty. It is the thuggery. It is the thieving and the stealing. It is that the lack of morality when it comes to political and social issues, where you would want to maintain people in poverty instead of handing them back their own glory, giving them their own land. I asked a question the other day on my Facebook page. What does Jesus say about land? Simple question. When is he going to stand up, Jesus, and say, give Africans back their land? No, Christianity, we can't talk like that because land is political. We must obey our masters and pray for your leaders. That kind of theology, and say, how do you pray for a thief to continue stealing? A revolution. And why did he himself, Jesus, and God did not teach the Israelites to pray? Why did he send them to war? Because some certain things will not happen through prayer. They happen through war. So it is this dishonesty, according to me, that really turned me off and said, no man, there's something not happening. Things have happened because people have stood up, picked up their spears and guns and went to war. Now Christianity is happy to be worshipping in a free Kenya, but you are not willing to die for it. But you want to enjoy the independence. You don't want to take guns and go and fight. But once you are free, you are the first ones up front to say, we are now living in a free, our God is good. Good where? So he was not good when others were dying in the battlefront. And you were safe at home. So it is some of these inconsistencies that literally confuse some of us, that we needed to start finding a way of making our testimony, our lifestyles, as improved as much as possible. And we do that by doing the best of what we can. And I'm happy in this room is full of professionals. Professionals. Be the best of who you can. And the next bus stop is 3, 4, 5, 6 of you. Start putting your monies together. Help this brother this month. Put your monies together again. Help that brother next month. Put your money together. Help their brother next month. And work together to improve each other. Give each other contracts. Improve. People must be attracted to something that is functional. People want to be identified with successful things.
Thank you so much, Maponga. I think the clear message is that as Assisians, we should build something that is sustainable, our lifestyle. We actually consider our spirituality as a lifestyle. We are living on a daily basis, connecting with our Creator, being with our Creator. We don't have to talk so much, but every time when you lit a fire at home, every time when you wake up, when you see the sun is rising, you acknowledge that our Creator is still there, is providing for all of us, and he's not unfair. He loves everyone. And so I think maybe now moving forward, Maponga, you've been a champion of African spirituality, the renaissance and the true connection to our roots. How can we use our spirituality? You've been to Mount Kenya recently. You've been to many places. How can we, or how are we, tell us, how can we use this spirituality to unite Africa before? How can we transcend these boundaries that were drawn recently? Not even more than 200 years ago. How can we unify Africa and entire humanity using our spirituality?
I have argued, and I'll still continue to argue until everyone understands. And I'm not backing down on that argument. All our African governments are illegitimate. all our countries are illegitimate. All the borders are illegitimate. Ask me why. Because we cannot say Berlin Conference was illegitimate. And then the borders that were drawn by Berlin Conference become legitimate. So there's nothing called Kenya until Berlin Conference. There's nothing called Tanzania until Berlin Conference. So by legitimizing Berlin Conference, then you come out of that. I come from Kenya. Then are you confused? Which part of this are you not understanding? How can this be wrong and this be right? The product of something that was evil is what we call countries right now. So I would declare it clearly, loud and clear, that all what you call countries are provinces. The country is Africa. And if we understand that, then we can begin to have a meaningful spirituality conversation that understands that the Hutus and Tutsis that are in Rwanda, the Hutus and Tutsis that are in Uganda, the Hutus and Tutsis that are in Burundi, the Hutus and Tutsis that are in Mongolia and that are found in Mount Kenya, they are one people. Then we can understand that the crocodile in Kenya, from the tribe and the totems of the crocodiles, is actually the Ngwenya that is in South Africa. That is actually the Gushungos that are in Zimbabwe. The lions that are in Kenya, they are the same lions that are in the south. And the baboons that are in Mount Kenya are the baboons. And here is the mystery of all mysteries that I should share with you as young people. That our totemic connections, they supersede our languages. So you can say, I'm Kikuyu, I am Hausa, I am Ashanti, I am Zulu, I am Bemba, I am Sena. No. What's your totem? I am from the buffalo. Oh, well, I am Nyati. And I'm what? And we may begin to find that language is secondary to our totems. And as such, we need to start teaching Africans these connections. For immediately when we tap into that, you begin to see that we are true brothers and relatives. Now imagine this whole thing of South Africa, xenophobia. That a monkey from South Africa is killing a monkey from Kenya. Are you not killing your own blood brother? Blood brother. But ignorance, however, becomes the passport of such evil. And I think you being here at the cradle of mankind, I may need to connect you actually with the Waganda kingdom in Uganda, where they've actually structured the 12 main totems in the kingdom of Waganda. And you can connect that knowledge with what you have, with the knowledge I have from the south, and begin to have a pull, since you guys are IT savvy, and see how we can connect as many of our African people to each other. Literally. Ultimately, we want to see your children coming down south to marry. We want to send our children up here to look for wives. Because until we begin to break these boundaries and borders and interact one with another, we may think that we are different, when actually we are one and the same thing. And in my own words, I will refuse to be made to be feeling like a stranger anywhere on the continent of Africa. My grandfathers are coming right from here. When we trace some of our histories in Yemen, some of our history is found in Ethiopia, in Nagaste, and I trace my roots here into Embos, into Southern Africa, into the Southern Hemisphere, and I'm from the Karanga tribe. Ka, there you go. Ra, there you go. Nga, there you go. Ka, Ra, Nga. The people of the light with wisdom and knowledge of healing. And there you are.
So it is a tie. I want to switch for the wavelength.